Hey YouTube, Rob Lally with Lally Artistry, and today we're going to get the blade hand sanded up to 2000 grit and make it nice and shiny and polished. Um, that's a long process. I won't make you sit through hours of me hand sanding. I'll just bring you in between each grit and show you what I did and how I do it. And then we're going to go right into etching the runes on the side of the blade as seen in the TV show. We'll get that all in. I'll show you how I do that. That's a fun little process um, using salt water and a battery charger. It's pretty simple. And later you'll see a stand that I made for this knife for Casey, and I also etched the aluminum on that. So yeah, we'll get going, get started, and you guys can follow along. All right, we'll be back. Okay, I wanted to explain why we hand sand in the knife making community. Um, if you can see, all the scratch lines are going up and down. Yeah, and this is a nice looking finish, but it's just not up to my standards. And that's a 400 grit. Um, Now I went back and did the other side with a 320. And you can see the scratch patterns are starting to all go this way. And that's what we want. I'm doing it at an angle. Now the 400 grit, I'll come back like this and keep going the opposite direction until all those 320 grits are gone. And this also flattens the surface. And you can see it. You can see once you have all the scratches from the up and down from the belt grinder gone, and then you can move on to the, with the 320, then you can move on to the 400 and so on and so forth. You just keep working your way up, and it's best to have a good light. And you can see it's bright in my shop here, so I can really look to see what scratches are still there. And don't stop until all the scratches from the previous grits are gone. It just, the finish is so much better. Okay, I'm gonna go up to 400 grit on this side, and then we'll come back and I'll show you that progress. Okay, we are back. And now we're up to 400 grit. And you can see the scratch marks now. Now I go the opposite way again. 600 grit. Until all those 400 grits are gone. See, there's no more 320 grit. It's all 400 now. Okay, we'll be back. Okay, we are now at 600 grit. She's starting to look pretty shiny, but still got more to go. I mean, if it hits the light just right, you see the scratches. So, up to 800. So I was out of 800 grit, so I had to jump up to 1,000. You're really starting to see the polish. I mean, you can jump a grit, but be prepared to really spend some time getting those scratches out. All right, up to 1,500 and then 2,000. Okay, and there's 1,500. You can still see the scratches from the 1,500 grit, but you can really start to see it polishing. Now what I'll do with the 2,000 and final grit, I will start going this way. All those scratches for a 2,000 grit will be going up and down the blade. That will get rid of all of the 1,500, and it'll make it look real nice and shiny. As you can see, I mean, I can see my own camera, my own phone. So that's only 1,500. We got one more grit to go. On this final 2,000 grit, I drag it down the blade. I don't go back and forth. I do this because that way you don't leave any what's called J hooks, and then you got to work them out. So if you do this, it gets rid of all the scratches. It just takes a while instead of the back and forth that you normally do. We just keep doing this till all the scratches are gone, and then we'll take it over to the buffer and really make her pop. This is why a good lighting is good. I've got this light right here above my head that's shining right down onto it. And I can see the reflection of the bulb in the blade. So I can get to see all the scratches. And that's why I do this down here. Plus it's finish work, away from the grimy, nasty forging process. Do this, just keep going until there's no more scratches that you can see. Okay, I'm going to continue doing this till there's nothing left, and then we'll take a look, see what this side looks like compared to the other side we haven't even touched yet. And it's already been, well, let's see, I started this at 11 o'clock. It's now 12:39. So, and that's just one side, and that's not even touching the bevels or anything. That's just doing the flats. So hand sanding does take a while, but it's so worth it in the end when you can see the reflection and all that. I know there's going to be a lot of runes and stuff inside the blade because this is the demon blade, but everything else will be nice and shiny, you know, and the runes will be popping too, but you know, it's going to cover up a lot of the shininess. It is what it is, but I want it to be perfect. So it's my name, my reputation on it, so it's got to be up to my standards. So all right, I'm going to finish sanding and we'll be back. So here we go. It's 2000 grit. I mean, not much to say about it. Now we take it over to the buffer. Now this is the other side I haven't even touched yet. You can see the difference. And that's why we hand sand. You know, I mean, you can stop at like 400 grit. You know, you want a nice little look like a brush finish. You can stop at like 400 grit. I like to take mine right up. I mean, that's just pretty. So we'll get her buffed and then we'll really take a look at the shine. Okay, we're back. Okay, we're back from the buffer. This was a quick pass on the buffer. Now you can see the shininess. I mean, there's no compare. I mean, I can see knife upon knife upon knife inside this blade. So okay, well, I'm going to do the other side and then figure out if we're going to do the bevels. Explain what I did and how I did it and how I got to this process. I have a Cricut, and that is phenomenal for doing electro etching. You can make up your design, you can put it out on your blade, or whatever it is you want to electro etch. It doesn't even have to be, you know, a knife. You can electro etch any kind of steel. But I love that Cricut for doing this. It makes it really look like professional. So basically you're taking the negative from the Cricut and putting it on your blade. And then I wrap the rest with Scotch tape so I don't get any electro etching anywhere else. And it's very simple. I've got a old car charger. The new ones will not work. You got to find yourself an old one. Garage sales, you know, every time I find one, I buy one just in case this one gives it up, and I've got one. Your solution is just iodized salt water. Very simple mix. Just, I do it until it tastes salty. And you'll see some of the salt in the bottom. And I've got those pads I was talking about. Mr. Clean scrub pads, whatever. I cut them up. You know, they're good, and then I fold them so I can get a really good, you know, grip on them with the etch. Now, your cables, you want to use the negative on your pad, and you want the positive on your blade. And I do this, I try to do this before I add handles or anything else, so if there's any scratches I can go back and get them out. And that's really about it. I'm fortunate enough to have a start button on this one, and that does a phenomenal job. If not, you can do it, you know, with 2 amps, 10 amps. It just takes a little bit longer. This one really gets going and gets good. And all I do is I soak the pad, the Mr. Clean pad, with the salt water. And I wring it out. I don't want too much water on the blade as I'm going. And I just hit start. Remember, the positive's on the blade, the negative is what we're doing. Now we're electro etching. And now I hold it to the steel, and whatever is not blocked will start to electro etch. There we go. Now knocked her down to 2 amps, and that really gets her going. And try not to breathe this stuff. This stuff is very caustic. It hurts. I've done it. I know. You know, you get the blade all laid out. I don't know if you can hear it or not, but it's sizzling because it's actually etching the steel. Now I'll go up and down this blade 4 or 5 times, doing it all evenly as possible to get a nice deep etch. You can see, I don't know if you can see it on camera or not, but there's actually steam coming off it. That's the smoke, that's the stuff you do not want to breathe. It's very caustic. You can see I'm keeping way back so I'm not breathing it. Should have a fan on and blowing it away, but you know. This will give you a nice deep dark etch. You can leave it dark if you want or not. That's totally up to you. You can, you know, buff all that darkness out. And there is some heat coming off this. You're not ruining your temper or anything like that. It's not getting that hot. We'll start up here. We'll go down it one more time. And this does not take long. Of course, the longer you hold it and the more you do this, the deeper the etch will be. I mean, you're watching this in real time. This really does not take long. You know, keep an eye on it, see how it's looking. Get all your edges. And then I'll go over it quick like this to kind of blend it all. And this is just one side. I won't bore you with the other side because it's still got to be done. But that is how you electro etch. We'll get her cleaned up, and then you can see the final when it's all done. And now this is in the steel now. It'll last forever. And just like that, we're done. So, and you can see the pad gets pretty nasty, you know, so I won't probably use this on another one. On the other side, I've got that other one over there. But we'll get this, all the tape off it, get it cleaned up, and then you can see how it looks. We'll be back. Okay, now that we've got it etched, I go back with the 2000 grit where we left off, you know, our very last grit. And I go back through and I clean out any kind of high spots. You know, we've already done all the hand sanding on it, but this cleans up, you know, any kind of little spots that might be in it. And since we've already done the 2000 grit, it doesn't hurt it. Start dragging, get all those scratch lines perfect. And then we'll get her buffed. And we'll go from there. Because I got to do, there's, you know, a design that goes around the blade, and I don't have a pattern for that. So I'm going to do that by hand. And that's pretty cool trick you can do too. You know, you use some fingernail polish, cover the whole blade, and then you can take like a toothpick and make your design. You know, it's all freehand, so you got to really try to do a nice job. And you can see the knife is cleaning back up some more. And like I said, we'll go back over to the buffer here in a minute. Get this cleaned up. So, okay, we'll be back. Okay, so we got her all cleaned back up, and she came out really nice. You can catch the lights just right. You can see the runes. Um, and they're in the steel. Now, I like the shininess. We'll probably leave it. You can darken it on the inside. Some people prefer that, but I like everything looking nice and shiny. It's just my preference. You know, it makes it look really professional. So we'll get the other side done, and then once we have the whole knife done, etched, we'll come back and we'll take a look at everything. Okay? All right. Till then. So there we have it. Both sides got a nice etch. Came out real good. And I think there's some more on there. I gotta look. I think there's a border that goes all the way around. Might add that in. But we'll see. I like it so far. Looks real good. That's gonna be a short one today. Thanks for watching. Like, follow, subscribe, and till tomorrow.